Okay, I think we're live. Okay, so my name is Lisa Callahan and I am the founder of the Women's Emotional Eating Community Support Group here on Facebook, and I'm very excited to bring you up. Here we go, something happened and now it's better. Okay, my screen went out for a second. Okay, so today we're going to bring you a very interesting topic, and it is called How to Stop Cheating on My Diet. Now, if you're already working with me in my Crush That Food Thing self-discovery system, you might be like thinking, what? Has she gone crazy? Because if you're working with me already, you're going to know that we do not do diets at all in Crush That Food Thing. In fact, if anything, we completely are opposed to anybody ever going on a diet. However, I know that when you're entering this group, it's called the Women's Emotional Eating Community Support Group, and I also know that the majority of the people that are in this group have been on decades and decades and decades of dieting, and in fact, you might even be on a diet right now. So I did this title of this on purpose because I wanted to intrigue you to come here so that I can help you to see why going on a diet is going to be the absolute wrong thing for you if you're struggling with an emotional eating issue. Now, if you're signed up for my masterclass, which is in 2 days from now, called The 3 Secrets That I Use to Conquer Stress Eating, Beat Self-Sabotage, and Kick the All-or-Nothing Mindset Around Food, you are going to learn about how diets are only meant to be for specific things. The number one reason why anybody would ever go on a diet is if they are maybe trying to do something for a competition or something that's got like a start and a stop date. I know that for me, I had competed at times to do like bodybuilding and figure competition, and I had to go on a diet. Like that's what I had to do for that specific thing. Some people stay on a specific diet because of an allergy or a medical condition or a religious reason. You know, it's like, okay, I am whatever, meat free because this is what my religion tells me to do, or like I'm not free because I have an allergy. So those are some reasons why somebody would go on a diet. However, because the diet industry is a bazillion-dollar industry, majority of the people in the world go on a diet to lose weight. If you start to work with me, you'll recognize, then you'll learn that weight is a symptom of an underlying problem. So now we have to kind of think to ourselves, if I'm going to be cheating on my diet, well, without ever getting to the source of the underlying problem, the root cause, like why do I have a weight issue to begin with? Why do I need to be on a diet? If we never figure that part out, well, then being on a diet is actually cruel. It's literally, it's as if you were going to take this wound that's just like continually open, and maybe it would be like putting a very like simple like Band-Aid over this like gaping wound when you really need like something that's going to heal it, like a real stitches, something that's going to actually secure it. But then you're just going to put a few Band-Aids on it. So the wound is still open and it's gaping and it's woozing and oozing and so on. And then you'll just put a little Band-Aid over it. And then when you rip that Band-Aid off, it's as if you meant to rip that wound right open. So going on a diet when you're struggling with an emotional eating issue is actually cruel. And it's something that you're doing to yourself. So it's something that is actually meant to hurt you. And I know that when I'm saying that right now, you might not understand. And honestly, like if I had heard myself when I was in my diet phase, I would have like turned me off right now. And I get it if you want to do that. But please try and hear me out, because we're talking about how to stop cheating on your diet. If I can help you to understand why you don't want to be on a diet to begin with, well, you'll never have an opportunity to cheat on your diet ever again. So this is my back way approach to get your interest, to have you listen to me, to open your heart, to open your mind to a new way of thinking. Because this old way of thinking, it's not working for you. I am the flower child of diets. Like I was on 30 diets or 50 diets even in my lifetime. And the reason why it started really was from my history. When I was a little girl, like I never really thought about my diet or what I ate at all. About the only thing that I really thought about was that like carrots were good for my eyes, and so like I wanted to have good eyes, so I ate carrots. Like dairy was good for my bones. Like these were just things that I learned in school, and so I wanted to be a good girl. So I would eat things specifically if I thought they were going to help me. Like I never looked at food as anything relation to my weight or my body image ever. Not until I was about 17. When I was 17, I started to think about things differently, and it was through influences from the outside world, looking at models, looking at the, Women's Day magazines, hearing stuff from my friends, as I was like eating a big cheeseburger, people were like, "You're gonna eat that?" And I was like, "What's wrong with this?" Like I really didn't know any different. And so as soon as I got that like trigger in my mind that I was being like shamed for seeing other people seeing what I was eating, that like shut me down. And I decided to launch into a diet lifestyle. And I told myself that's what it was. I was like, I'm eating a healthy lifestyle. Like this is the diet that I'm on. Well, it kept switching over and over and over again because diets are not sustainable. And I actually got shamed several times, but one time specifically that I remember was when I was walking through the supermarket. I was about 20 years old, and I was a fitness trainer. I had started my personal training career when I was 19. I thought like, I'm going to learn this perfect diet and I'm going to teach everybody how to eat healthy, and this was my thing for the world. And so I ate, very perfectly. I had 3 egg whites in the morning. I had a little oatmeal. Like I did everything that they told you to do. And then my boyfriend, who I lived with at the time, he asked me for Fruity Pebbles. So I bought Fruity Pebbles for him and put it in the shopping cart. And the next thing you know, this client, like I felt like she ambushed me. She snuck up behind me and she was talking to me for a minute, and then she peered into my cart and she was like, "Oh, I didn't think you could eat so perfect." And it just like, whoa, it slammed me. And I got like scattered because like in my mind I thought like, oh, I have to eat so perfectly to upkeep my image. Like everybody's supposed to eat perfectly and I'm teaching them how to eat perfectly. Now what if I don't eat perfectly? Then what? What will they think of me? And so I got shamed, and I did it to myself. And then from then on, I never, and I mean never, let anybody see me eat anything that was not considered to be a diet food. And so all of my binge eating was private. It was literally as if I became divided into 2 separate people. Now think about that. And here I am thinking that I'm cheating on my diet. No. Actually, in reality, I was cheating on my human self, like my humanness. Like I had already tossed myself out into the, into the oblivion as this horrible person. and I made it so that like this front person that everybody saw was the one that ate so perfectly. And then when I cheated on my diet, well, that was just reminding me of how terrible I was to begin with. And I got this like mishmash going on in my head. And I didn't really know, well, I didn't know at all that I was doing it. But over the decades and decades, really 3 decades that I continued on this journey, it just continued to get worse and worse. And so the person that I was on the outside versus the person that I showed myself were 2 different people. And while I might have told myself that I was cheating on my diet, what I was really doing was betraying myself the whole entire time. And so when you think about it that way, and we can remove the food, the actual food from the equation, because that's what you guys are thinking when you're coming into this. When I'm talking about diet, you think I'm talking about the difference between eating an apple or eating a croissant. And I'm not. Really, I'm not. I'm talking about the way that you feel about yourself. And so if you're telling yourself that you have to eat a certain way, And then if you don't eat a certain way, that makes you a bad person, or that makes you bad or not trustworthy, or that you can't, like stick to something, or you can't, or that you have no self-control. I promise you that if you don't understand the reason why you feel that way about yourself to begin with, then none of the food stuff is ever going to change the way that you feel about yourself. And I don't care how long that you're dieting for. It's not going to matter. This was a quote that was made by Joshua Rosenthal. He is the founder of the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. That's where I have my health coaching certification from. But he says, and I just kind of love this, where is it? He said, oh boy, let's see if I can find it. He said, you can eat all the broccoli and brown rice in the world, but if you feel isolated and lonely, you are not going to be living life at full capacity. And the truth is that while I thought that I was eating so perfectly and that I was cheating on my diet when I ate bad foods, and even the mere thought of eating a good food versus a bad food was simply meant to sabotage the way that I felt about myself to begin with. So is this you? Are you thinking about your foods in a way that makes you feel like if you've eaten a piece of broccoli, that now you're allowed to feel good about yourself, and if you've eaten a piece of chocolate, you have to feel bad about yourself? Like, are you using this food to betray yourself to begin with? Because if you are, then, like I said, it won't matter. Like Joshua Rosenthal said, it doesn't matter how much broccoli you eat. You're isolating yourself from yourself to begin with. And so that's what I did. And it's unimaginable to me now. Like, I can't even imagine being the way that I was before. And yet, majority of my life was spent that way. So this is another quote that I have about diets, just so you can kind of get an understanding about what diets are. So let's just talk about the diet industry for a minute. The diet industry makes millions of dollars hoping that you will try to lose weight. Diets can mean different things to different people. Your diet is a habitual nourishment that you provide yourself on a daily basis. In the world of weight loss, a diet can mean prescribed and restrictive eating pattern. So let's go into one more about diets. Diets are dangerous when they push us to eat in a way that limits access to vital nutrients. Some diets will eliminate whole food groups such as carbohydrates or fat in order to lose weight. This can lead to deficiencies and malnutrition. Further, going on a diet infers that you will someday go off the diet. This can lead to overeating foods that were previously eliminated and consequently rapid weight gain return. So this is why when we talk about cheating on your diet, that whole scenario has to be brought to a different level of awareness. And if you are going to learn new things about what it really means, you're going to have to unlearn some of the old things. So I really want you to start with a list. If you could write down 5 things that you think being on a diet is about now. So to me, I'll just write a list from my previous self. So I felt like being on a diet meant that I would be in control of myself. I felt that being on a diet meant that I was going to be eating the perfect way. I thought that going on a diet would mean that I would lose weight or not gain any more weight. I thought being on a diet was going to allow me to trust myself more. And I thought that going on a diet meant that I could just have somebody else telling me what to do so that I didn't have to think about it. And I want to have you write your own list of what a diet means to you, and then I really want you to look at that list, and I want you to see to yourself, like, are these things, like habits that I want to grow. Because let's just take the last example of like going on a diet so that way like I didn't have to think about it. Is that what I want? Like, do I want to encourage myself to not think about myself? And the one about like knowing that I can't trust myself, so now I would have to have someone else telling me exactly what to eat because I'm not capable of making my own choices. So now, is that helpful? Or is that actually growing a part of me that tells myself, you're never going to trust yourself, so you can't listen to your own self. You got to listen to that guy over there. And so is that helpful? Or is that actually continuing to teach myself that I'm untrustworthy and that I'm not capable of making my own ideas, that I'm not capable of knowing myself from a deeper sense and understanding with my own intuition what it is that my body needs, what it is that makes me thrive and makes me feel alive. I know for other people, like maybe for them, carbohydrates does make them feel bloated and gassy and gives them pains and such. For me, I need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates make me thrive. I need to eat rice and quinoa and whole grains. That doesn't mean that I'm eating, like a dozen croissants from Costco. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different thing. And so you have to be able to identify that your body as a whole is an individual human body. And that going on a diet, that's cruel because you're going to be listening to something that might actually be damaging to your internal organs, to your energy within yourself. And then because you can't sustain that diet and you will fail at it, then that teaches you that now you can't be trusted. You're not worthy of being able to come up with this stuff on your own, because now it's like, well, I failed at the diet. So then that taps into your feelings about yourself, and because a diet is not sustainable, you will fail at it. So there's a whole contradiction going on between thinking that you've cheated on the diet versus you betraying yourself by going on a diet to begin with. Does that make sense? You've already cheated on yourself by going on a diet to begin with. It's not the diet that you're cheating on. It's you that you're cheating on by going on the diet. So that has to be cleared up for you to be able to open your mindset to a new level of awareness. Because right now, you're caught in an old limiting thought. Now, I agree. Once upon a time, this is how I felt too. I get it. And it was what I was taught. And it is what the bazillion-dollar industry of the dieting industry is going to teach you. They want you to believe that. Why wouldn't they? They're selling you something. I am not selling you anything. Even if you're a client of mine or you decide that you would like to start working with me, I'm not selling you anything. This is a journey. This is you discovering new parts of yourself. This is you taking a stance for yourself and you deciding for yourself from the inside out what's important to you. So we are all bio-individual, which means that one person's perfect food is actually another person's poison. So for you to go on a diet and then to tell yourself that you failed at this diet and to not want to cheat on the diet when you're using the diet to betray yourself, that's a contradiction. Never going to work. All right, let's sum this up. So what we want to think about is three things. One, your ability to be able to trust yourself and your own intuition with what it is that you crave, what it is that you're thriving from. And I want you to think about that word craving. And I want you to separate it from like, well, Lisa, I'm craving donuts. That's great. Ask yourself why. Why are you craving donuts? Are you lonely? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you living in the past? Are you fearful of the future? Like, why? Why are you craving donuts? That's important. Who cares about the donuts? The donuts are nothing, right? The donuts are just the thing that's getting you to take that bite into those negative feelings about yourself. So it's just like it's like the key. It's like the entryway. And you could do anything. It doesn't have to be a donut or any food, period. I mean, it could be as simple as like having a stack of bills in the corner of your house and just like completely ignoring them. Every time you look at that stack of bills, you're going to be like, oh, I can't trust myself to pay the bills on time. Like, you could be using other things. It's just that you're in this group because you're a woman struggling with emotional eating, and this group is getting you to be able to see what it is that is your thing. There are lots of things, and if you do come to work with me and crush that food thing, you'll see that it's not about the food, period. So where is it that you're using a diet, telling yourself you're cheating on the diet, but yet building this relationship of distrust with yourself? What's that about? The second thing would be sending yourself a message that your intuition is not valuable. So intuitively, if you can get off of the chemicals and the sugars and all of the other things that are causing your body to literally malfunction, you'll be able to have an intuition about your senses. You'll be able to feel from the inside out what it is that your body is looking for nourishment. And so by going on a diet, you're literally telling yourself that you cannot have your intuition guide you, and that you're literally like taking your intuition and like pushing it down and being like, yeah, don't trust your intuition. We have to go on this specific diet. And so I want you to think about that. Is that something that you want to grow? And the third thing is, when you're going on a diet, is that you're damaging your self-esteem, which gives you an anchor to shame and blame and to guilt yourself. So again, this was from Joshua Rosenthal. You can eat all the broccoli and brown rice in the world, but if you feel isolated and lonely, you're not going to be living at your full capacity. So think about how going on that diet, if you're going on a diet, you will have to go off of it eventually. And think about what that's going to do for your self-esteem. And so again, and I'll say this over and over, you're not cheating on your diet. You're cheating on yourself. You're betraying yourself. You're using the diet to hurt you. All right, so I think that is all I wanted to talk about today, and I hope you got a lot out of this training, at least got like a motivation to get off of the diets and start to look inside of yourself for the reasons why you feel like this about yourself to begin with, for the reasons why you have extra weight on your body. Remember, weight is a symptom of an underlying problem. And if you're looking to discover what that underlying problem is, I hope that you will go ahead and schedule a clarity call with me. Somewhere on this post here, there will be a link to book a clarity call. Clarity call is free. It's just something that you can go ahead and take advantage of to be able to see where it is that you're standing in your own way, where it is that you're stuck, and where it is that you're struggling with a limiting belief system that might have served you at one time in the past, but is not serving you freely in the present. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye now.